right. So I always started out this way. Today we get to talk to Radhika.
Radhika.
She, yep, she is a exceptional real estate agent in the
बोलिए.
Houston, Texas area, right? And you have some pretty big news here recently, right? You just joined a team.
Yes, sir.
The thing that I like about that the most is that team is a veteran focused team. So that's a lot of what we work with. So today, ma'am, we're going to get to know you so that all the people out there, veterans included, can kind of get to know you, get to know who you are, and just learn what you're all about. That way, when they call you, they feel like they know you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. So let's start this way. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about like your background, your history, where you're from, and then we can get into all the other boring stuff.
Okay.
That's
I'm also, this could take a while. So just,
okay. We got time.
okay.
So the floor is yours. Where are you from?
So I'm an American. However, I was born in Bombay, India, a very long time ago. So if you ask me about my life, it could take the entire hour. So I'll try to be as succinct as I could. So I was born in Bombay, but my parents immigrated to the United States about 40 years ago. And I'm super blessed to call this country my home and serve veterans because I, more than anyone, I think, um, understand what it means to have the liberties of living here. The freedoms we take for granted, I think, uh, are just not available to so many humans across the globe. And in that regard, I consider myself blessed to have seen that side. But like I said, I'm an American first and foremost, but India is very close to my heart for that precise reason.
Yeah, I mean that's a large amount of people. Like in our area, we have a lot of people from the same country and same region, right? There's a lot of Indian culture here in Houston, and it's very interesting to see. I like to talk to them and learn about things like you can tell where somebody's from simply how they dance. I didn't know that, and then
That's
I
so
found out.
that that's hilarious because you want to know something funny. When I speak to people on the phone, right? No one will say that I have an accent, right? But no sooner people meet me specifically in Texas. This is not true like in the city, New York or LA so much. But what I found, because I've been blessed, I've traveled quite a bit. People always say, "Where's your accent from?" And so I'm like, "From Texas." Right? Because I pretty much grew up here and seeing that I've been here 4 decades, so I'm not that much older than that. Well, maybe a little, but so yeah, and most people think my name is Veronica, which it is not. Did you introduce me already?
Yep.
Okay,
I
my
had to
name is
learn that the hard way. By the way, everybody, Radhika is rad before she's raw, just so you guys know. RAD. Yeah.
Don't traumatize me with any more like middle school stories, okay? Because I went through the whole name thing, so you know my line. Because man, I probably did this when we met a couple years ago, right? My name is Radhika. That is how you say it. I don't have any nicknames. However, I respond to anything that sounds remotely like it.
Well, I think that you're not unlike a whole bunch of people in the world. A lot of people do that. I tell a lot of people ask me, "Do you go by Matt or Matthew?" And I'm like, "I go by whatever you call me. Hey, you, what's up? That guy over there." I mean, sometimes you just gotta,
Go
you
with
just
the
gotta go
flow.
with the flow. And then there's a lot of people in the world that they're horrible with names.
Yeah.
So they meet you one time or another. So that's interesting. So um, I appreciate what you said earlier about you just love that you're living in this country. You're proud to be in this country, and we appreciate that, and we're happy that you're here
It's a blessing.
because
I mean, it's just a
yeah,
blessing. I mean, it simply is.
yeah,
In
absolutely,
so many ways that I think it would take another hour just to go into it. Like just our day-to-day life, we take for granted so many things that in other parts of the world just aren't afforded to people in terms of luxuries, simple things.
sure,
Whether it's a
sure,
laundry room or washing machine, we complain a lot. especially as moms, right? We're doing
Yeah.
laundry, but
Yeah.
it's just the simple things. I mean, even walking out on the street, you don't think about it, right? Do you think about where you walk?
No.
But I have a tendency to walk looking down. It's because I grew up in Bombay, right? So there's a lot of potholes, like when you walk, and that's like a super metropolitan city. It's a little better now, but still, or you could be stepping in doo doo. Let's just say. You never know.
Yeah.
So if you watch me walk, I will tend, if I'm walking outdoors, I always walk looking down, which a lot of people don't, and they find it weird. But I've noticed that about myself, especially now that I'm trying to get a little bit more healthy and walk some.
Sure. I mean, what you grew up in, and how you enter into the world and the things that you learn a lot of times is just how just you are, and that's what's interesting.
Yeah,
Like I said, I've lived all over the world as well. But the thing that I like the most is when I meet people from other countries and other cultures, and I like to talk to them. And like I said, I went to, and forgive me, I'm going to get the name wrong, but like the it was close to New Year's. I can't remember what the festival is called, but they had like chalk painted flowers by the house, and they had food, and they're out
Diwali.
there. Yeah, yeah, that's it. And so we got invited because we were just standing outside. So my wife and I go over there, and it was just so interesting to see. Like as they're dancing, that was the main thing they told me is like he's from the north side, he's from the south side. And then what was very very interesting to learn about like the country of India, right? Is they were saying that you can go from one town into another town and it's a completely different one language, two how they kind of like interact, like so the dialect is so vast there that
Yeah,
sometimes people from there will go in and be like, I have no idea what that person's saying. And
right.
I found that like that's crazy. Like
Mind blowing.
here, the most I'm going to tell you is you got like a southern accent, you got a northern accent, right? And just the words you use, whether
Yeah.
like in the north, they call what we call down here is an ATM machine. Sometimes up north they call it a money machine, right?
Okay.
And so you're like, oh, you mean that? That to us that's that. And then they were saying like just the way the food is there, and you go across so many different places. It was so interesting to know like just how it all comes together, and you can. But the one thing that I noticed, like all that being said, for everybody that was there, it didn't matter. They were just hanging out, having a good time, just talking to each other. The ladies pulled my wife over and they were showing her things, and I was standing next to the guys. And like there was a point in time where they were doing some kind of game or something. I don't know if it was trivia or something, but they're back and forth in the room, and like the ladies were telling them, I guess, and they were speaking, and they were just telling them basically the guys weren't you weren't worth anything because we're way better at this than you. And then they were going back and forth, but it was always in laughter,
Yeah,
right? It wasn't anything like, oh, nothing offensive. So it was comfortable to be there. It wasn't a an uncomfortable situation where despite you didn't know what was going on, you still felt welcome, right? And I think that's what I've taken the most out of everybody that I've met here that's, from India and has that culture and all that. Like they're friends first and they're always there to help. And I was like, man, that's amazing. Which leads right into why you're doing what you do now, right?
absolutely. I have a
Service
friend.
first and helping people. So tell me, since being here professionally, right? I know a little bit about what you've done in the past. I know that you've been a teacher and owned a business where you taught people and tutored them so they could get better grades. And I know you've worked in the real estate industry for a long time. Why don't you give us like a background and some of the things that you've done and what's led you to ultimately choose being a real estate agent is what you want to do and why that's important to you?
Right. So when I was younger, I've always been a driven individual. So I went to TCU on a full academic scholarship because, again, my parents were immigrants. Not money wasn't always a thing, so that had to determine where I went to school. Of course, I had some other help, but I never wanted anyone's help. I wanted to do things on my own right from the outset. So I had a full academic scholarship to TCU, which is a really great school in Dallas Fort Worth. I'm sure most of us have heard of
Horn
it.
frogs. What's up?
Horn Frogs, that's correct. But because I had the scholarship and I had declared very early that I wanted to be an accountant, thinking, that's a super um, cross industry job because I was married to an engineer when I was in university, and it was important that I be able to have a skill set that would transfer with him, right? So I think our veterans can relate to that, right? Because
Yeah.
you have spouses that move all the time, so engineers move quite often. So it seemed like a pragmatic choice for me to do accounting because it was like a cross industry thing, and also it wasn't as hard as engineering, right? So I did it. I didn't like it, quite frankly, but I just stuck with it because that's how I am. I begin something, I'm gonna see it through. So I finished it, and then I was on another high to achieve. So within 5 years of my degree, I started with a nonprofit. I became a controller of a multinational corporation. Um, at that point, I decided that there's more to life than your degree, money, and all those things. It's imperative that you do things, one, that make a difference, and two, that you enjoy, because then it doesn't become work, right? So I took some time off, much like I have done here recently before I joined this team, but we'll get into that in a minute, but to assess what it is that I wanted to do and who I wanted to become. And I decided at that age, I was, almost 30 years old, that I wanted to be a mother first before anything else, because I'd already attained. But I struggled to become a mother. So I had to take more time off than most people to have my son. And I did. And it was the best decision I ever made, because after that day, I've never looked back, either professionally or personally. And I'm super blessed. And I've always been blessed in many ways. I have the blessings of my parents and the support of a spectacular human that you know, also known as my husband.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I took some time off to be mom, but being the driven individual that I am, I couldn't just sit there and I'm like, well, my daughters needed, you know, a role model. They couldn't just see mom just as mom, right? At least that wasn't enough for me. Of course it is enough now. I know that. I'm a little older. So I wanted to do something that one would make a difference in a community that was rather rural, if you will, and help my children at the same time and allow me to spend time with them. So in that vein, I opened an after-school math and reading program because my son was struggling at this point. He was in elementary school in Victoria, Texas. It's called Kumon Math and Reading Center. I'm sure many of us have seen the sign over Houston. So I owned and operated that while my children were still in school and got all the way up to high school. And then that's when we moved to the Houston area for them to, be able to get into the schools that they had the choice of after we moved here. And since I've been to Houston, I've sort of been trying to find what I wanted to do again, right? Because I wasn't doing tutoring. I'd done it for this, and I ended up helping more people than I ever dreamed I would. But the best part was that I enjoyed it, you know. I think it was just yesterday, was it this morning, that a parent texted my husband and said, my daughter Sia, who is now 11, still remembers your wife's Kumon Math and Reading Center. Keep in mind that's 7 years ago now. And that was so, these things, that's what matters to me. It's not about what we do so much as in how and in what way we can provide happiness or allow others to realize their dreams, right? Life is more about that. I'm old enough to recognize that now. And so I picked real estate because I wanted to do something differently than, the tutoring gig that I had done, because I know how many centers there are here. And like I told and alluded to earlier, I'm very pragmatic, right? So it didn't make sense for me to get into that. And then I dived into real estate, and I was like, wait a minute. There's a lot more realtors than there are on math and reading centers in the thing. But no one understands that, right? When they first become a realtor. However, I didn't just dive into becoming an agent, right? As you know, Matt, this is how Matt and I met. I was an agent services coordinator at Carol Williams Signature. And Matt was the first agent I officially onboarded by myself. So I still know the
The only
exact date.
time I was number one ever.
April 20th. You're always number one in my book, Matt. Don't forget that. Other than Ramesh. I mean, maybe it's an equal one. So April 22nd. Matt, I won't age you, so I won't say the year, but it was April 22nd that we both met. And there's really been no looking back, right? Since that day that I was agent services coordinator, I sort of went into real estate with my eyes wide open. I learned a lot about the scene and the administration of real estate, got to understand and speak to agents to understand their struggles, right? Because what do people do when we buy houses? They always tell realtors, "Oh, I don't like realtors." At least a lot of people have had some sort of negative experience sometimes, and they're like, "I don't like realtors. What do y'all do? You'll just open a door," kind of thing. But I understood the struggles of the realtor. Yet, I find myself as an agent today primarily because of people that have supported me to always realize my dreams. Starting with my father, my husband, and now Matt Johnson. I'm so happy to say that I'm part of your team at Anchor. It's
Yeah,
sort of a
no, we
journey a little bit.
yeah we appreciate that, and it's interesting to know. So I wrote a couple things down that you were just saying, and first, I think the reason that you gravitated to real estate isn't because there's more realtors than there are Kumon Lunar centers, but I
Yeah,
think your personality, the drive you have, and the willingness you have for success is just you want to help as many people as you can. And I think that where you're at in life right now, I think what you look at is to help people purchase a home or sell a home and things like that in real estate. I know other people are going to find out when they listen to this. I know that that's not the most important thing. What you're worried about is you want to build friendships, right? And
relationships.
so you want to leave somebody with a good experience. The thing that I wrote down that keys out the most is, yeah, there's a lot of people that have had bad experiences with real estate agents. I think that in the last 18 months that we've gone through the craziness that's called the world today, that I think that that has increased a lot, right? Which is why I
Mhm.
also think that a lot of agents see Open Door and Redfin and like a lot of these other services that'll come in, and you hear the commercials all the time where they say, we're going to make this easy for you. We're going to give you an offer. You don't have to do anything, right? Uh, and
You
that's
get what you
good.
pay for.
And it's good if it meets your situation. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't met and talked to people before that that scenario is the best scenario for them. It just really depends. However, I want everybody to understand and know that listens that you cannot replace the experience and the service you get through working with someone. We all already know. We've gone to the doctor and we've had doctors we didn't like. Does that mean that everybody's now going to say I hate doctors? No, they're going to go find the doctor that meets their personality and will service them the best way possible, right? In anything that you're doing. It's the same thing with an accountant or a tax professional or down to a car salesman, right? Like you
Right.
find the people that you gravitate to, and if those people stay around long enough, those are the people you're going to work with. A realtor is no different. I think the problem is there's not very much barrier to entry to become a realtor. Okay.
You've said this before.
You just go take the test, you get your license, then you start practicing, and you're like, let go. Like you are in the wild. You talk to people and all of that. The reality is, there's so many people looking to purchase homes that by nature, anybody that gets a real estate license is going to close a deal or have a client at some point in time. The mistake that people make, I think, brand new is they try to act like they know. I already know everything I need to know. I'm just going to put my sign. People are going to bring it. This is going to be easy. It's going to be great. I'm going to be a millionaire. I watched it on TV. The reality is, you're going to have to fail to move forward. And you have to be honest with the people that you work with. I think the reason that a lot of people have a bad taste in realtors' mouths and think that all we do is open doors is because a lot of times right now, because of platforms where people are calling to get information on homes, the immediate thing that person does is they say, do you want to go see the house? And they think that guy showing you the house, that's going to make them want to work with you because I was there to show you the house, right? Well, the reality is, great agents, good agents like Radhika, are going to do the things in the background. They're going to run an analysis for you. They're going to tell you about the market conditions. They're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? There's a big thing that I talk about all the time is like bad news doesn't get better with time. And I think a lot of agents that come into the real estate industry, especially young ones. And then other people that were successful in other arenas, a lot of salesmen that have been successful. Telling someone they can't have something or they can't do something after you've started is a very scary conversation. So a lot of people are not willing to tell the client, this isn't going to work. That's not going to work. I don't think that that's the best route for you to take. Let me give you advice. They don't do that because they're afraid of the person walking away from them, right? Well, I believe that if I tell you that it's not going to work and I give you my professional opinion and that is enough for you to walk away, this might not be popular, but I'm fine with that. Walk away. That means we didn't mesh. That means that you and I are not going to do business together because you don't trust the service that I'm giving you, right? And so I think there's a lot of people in the real estate industry sometimes that want to blame other things, right? It's the lender's fault. It's the title company's fault. Uh, Depending on what kind of loan you're doing, it's the VA's fault. It's I've got all this stuff going on, right? And a lot of people don't realize when you work in a service industry, because real estate's a service industry, what we're doing is you're providing a service to people. They work with you because they want the services you provide. Our team, the motto, results without excuses. There is no excuse on why you can't do your job, and you just got to do it. You got to be honest with people. And sometimes that means they're going to leave you. That's okay. But more often than not, the way that you do it is going to be successful, right? It only takes a couple of people to realize what they have, and then it starts to spread. And then you're going to start talking to a lot of people. So I think that from what I know of you, that's where I see the success that's coming your way. You want to help people, you have a genuine care to help people, and you're not looking for anything other than just to help them. Like them closing on a home and being happy is payment, right? But it goes in other directions, right? So
And the reason I like you is for all the reasons, and I know you're successful, is all the reasons you just cited. You have a great amount of integrity. You're not afraid to tell people the way things really are. And like you said, most agents or several agents, I wouldn't say most, at least a few agents, enough, uh, are afraid of telling it for obvious, there are many reasons that people do that. But I didn't want to align with them. I wanted to align with someone precisely like you, um, and that's why we are where we are today.
oh
I
yeah, I
wouldn't have it
appreciate
any
that.
other way, quite frankly.
And I wouldn't have it any other way either. And it takes a while for things to happen to come through, but eventually the right thing happens at the right time, and then that's the way to go forward and do it. I appreciate all that you said about me, but I didn't. I learned all these traits from a lifetime of service, right?
Yeah,
So the things that I've learned and the things that I hold to me, that those core values and just the way that you interact with people in a professional standpoint is just what I've learned through leadership and being taught how to do it when I was in the Navy. Like there's no other way but for me to tell you exactly how it is.
yeah,
But we already know that that's going to make people mad, and that's okay. I'd
yeah.
rather you be angry at me right now. The main thing that I do out of anything of all the 800 things that I do, the main thing that I do now is I'm a lender. I help people buy homes. We specialize in VA loans, and I tell the clients I work with, here's the deal. I'm going to shock you up front, and I'm going to tell you no, and I'm going to ask you for 100 million things to help you start this process. Because what I know and see, my opinion, it's not that it's a perfect science. There's a ton of people out there right now, just like you have realtors that think they're going to get a license and everyone in the city's going to call them and they're going to make, $100,000 a month because they see it on TV. There's a lot of loan companies out there that will send you a pre-qualification letter just because you put information in the computer. Well, that's good, and it's valid. But what are you going to do in 3 weeks when it's time to close and they start asking you for stuff, and then you can't because the things that you provided aren't exactly what they were looking for? So we try to do that work up front. Again,
It
it's just all
literally has
about the
happened to me.
service,
So it actually happened to me. So I'm so glad you're on the lending side.
and it's
Because
just
now I
about the
have a partner I
service.
trust. No, it's important you have a partner you wholly trust. And in
Yeah,
that vein, we're a partnership as well. So yeah,
for
no,
sure.
most definitely.
So tell me, real estate wise, tell me about your goals. What are you trying to attain? What's the logical next step for you? Like, what is your plan going into the future now? And then on top of that, like let everybody know, like what can they expect from you going forward as you build your business, your portfolio, and you start working with people. Tell us about how you're gonna show them you're better than the rest, which I know that, but other people need to hear it.
Well, the first thing I would say to anyone listening is give me the opportunity to prove it. Okay. It's like the motto says, results without excuses. I'm not going to give you excuses, right? I'm just going to do the work. You can judge me. At the end of the day, you'll have the opportunity to review me and assess my performance. All I'm asking is for the chance, because I'm so new in it. That's why I'm aligning myself with successful people. I think it's imperative that you align yourself with people whose not just mindset, as I told you, that I agree with, but whose work ethic, who are quote unquote successful in the area you want to see results, right? So I am a firm believer that success is created. It's not just, of course it's relative and all these things, but I think you create your success wherever you go with discipline, with diligence, with persistence, and just like you said, not don't give the excuse. Just keep doing the work, and that's what I intend to do. So that anyone listening, um, just give me a call to find out, or DM me or message me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, whatever. Not just social media. I think face to face, that art is so lost, these days, that my personal favorite thing to do, Matt, is to knock on doors. I actually, because you know how I am, I like to talk to people. So when I first went out door knocking, it was soon after my dad had passed. Would you believe that the first door I knocked on, I don't think I ever told you the story, was the wife of a pastor who handed me a Bible and started giving me quotes that were so relevant. And she had no idea what had just happened to me, right? Because I was just knocking on her door to see if she wanted to list her home. But I think things happen most of the time for a reason. And so if that's what it takes to get me the results that I want, which are basically just to grow and do better every single day as a human first and as a realtor second. Does that answer your question without
Yeah,
turning out
absolutely, it does.
presumptuous?
I think that one thing that you can take from any way that you approach it, the biggest thing is there's 100 different ways to do the job that you're going to do. There's literally a million schools of thought. There's a ton of people out there that can teach you and show you and give you their opinion on how you should do things. I'm probably not the most ideal candidate for someone to coach or talk to on how to do stuff. Like I'm not. I've done a lot in the sales realm, in the recruiting realm, and I've done a lot of that. So I have one of those people that I feel comfortable in what I've always done, and I believe you just got to work hard and do what you have to do. So I mean, there's tons though. Door knocking is one. Calling expired and terminated people that they couldn't sell their house. Like me personally, I used to be on a team and I would do that, and there's value to it. You're going to talk to a lot of people, right? You're going to talk to a lot of people, but I don't like talking to people that I already know that one of two things has happened, right? The first one is they overprice their home so bad and they have such an outdated feel of what they think it's worth that it's going to be a difficult relationship to work with that person, right? So you're going into that one very difficult. And there are some agents that are flawless at that. They thrive and they
Hmm.
succeed through
We know
those
of it.
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know if you. I'm not one of those guys, right? And then you have the second end of it is there's so much wrong with that house probably that it's just not going to, whether it's a tax problem or a lien problem or something like that. There's a reason the home didn't sell, right? And it is a combination of factors. It could have been the realtor didn't do a good job. It could be that the owner is too far out to what they're going to do. I tend to not to want to work with people like that. That's just me personally. But again, like we said, I know a lot of people that thrive in that arena. I think those people are going to have a lot more work to do here in the near future because the market is starting to kind of even out a little bit. I think you're going to start to see some more opportunities in that arena. It's not like 30 seconds on the market, 500 offers anymore, but
Yeah.
they'll get there, and then there's mail outs and there's, geographical farming and there's cold calling. There's calling your sphere of influence, the people that like you, love you, and trust you. I personally, with everything that I do, you can see the flags in the background. You can see my box from retirement in the military. I stick to what I know.
Yeah.
I just know military people. I know veterans. I know people that serve their country. They can use a VA loan and they're looking to purchase and like that's my tribe. That's my people. That's who I know. And I want to make sure that they get help because the one thing I do know, so many of them get talked into a loan that is not a VA loan, and that's not cool. It is just completely horrible. That is definitely an
Sad.
excuse without a result. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just stuck there. That's what I did, and I still, and that's why I'm on the team that I'm on now, is doing the mortgage side of it, is because we specialize in VA. That's what we do.
That's your niche,
Yeah,
Your
there's so
niche
many
is
people
niche.
that don't understand it, and it
Yeah.
comes to a lot of people that they conventional loans better because they're putting money down. Like that's crazy. Why would I spend $25,000 to $50,000 on a house when I do not have to? Because I earn the
Yeah.
right not to do that.
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why
You've
is a
earned the right.
seller? Yeah, but why is a seller or a real estate agent worried about how much money the client's putting down on the home? The seller and the agent get paid none of that money. It goes
Exactly.
into the loan. Like it's crazy. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they feel that's a better offer. I, on the other hand, if I don't have to put any money down to purchase a home, meaning no down payment, 100% financing, the only amount you're worried about at this point is do I have closing costs? That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah.
As long as I can pay closing costs, I'm good to go. I think that someone that's in a conventional that has to put 5 to 25 or 20% down, it's higher risk. What if something happens and they lose some money? You know what I mean? But each deal is different. So, it's just that challenge of going through it. And, that's another reason that we want to work with you. You are someone that gives no excuses. You work hard. You, um, you put the the needs of the person you're working with over your own perception, and that's a really big one for me. I don't know what you've seen, and I'm sure you've seen a lot more than me. So many times you see people in anything they do tell people like that's not what you should do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm not spending $300,000. Why am I telling them what they should do? It's their money. It's not mine.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
So it just it snowballs from there. But yeah, so I think knocking on doors is a good thing if that's what you want to do. Like I'm not that guy either. I just
I know
I
we've
don't want
talked
to
about
knock on a
this.
door. Yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to do it. I've done it. I've tried all those things, but what works for me is what works for me. And I think the most exciting thing is trying out what's going to work for you, right?
Yeah, I think that's where I am right now. I'm still trying to figure out what works best for me. I'm willing to work in every direction,
Hmm.
you know, and I will. There's no two ways about it. I'm not just going to say, oh, well, door knocking is my thing. So I'm stuck to that. I mean, all the things that you just mentioned, calling your sphere, going out there and letting everyone that I need to know that one, not only am I a realtor, I'm associated with a great, partner. Um,
Yeah, I think that it's the drive going forward. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket because once you tend to focus on, I've read that book, Focus on One Thing, and it's a great book and it does make a lot of sense. But if I put all of my eggs into one basket every day and only do that one thing, people need to understand that that book doesn't mean you only have to do one thing every day. But what it really is teaching you to do is the one thing you're doing right now, that's what's most important. And I think what gets lost is that most real estate agents don't put the client they're working with in front of them important right now and answer what they have to do. They're worried about the text message that comes in or the phone call that comes in or they get an email or they're whoever they work with is calling them. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen in the middle of business being conducted, someone answers the phone and completely leaves that person on the outside of it. Like that is so frustrating because
pet
whatever
peeve
you got
one.
going on outside of this should not matter with the client that you're working with right now. Like they should be number one,
Yeah.
but they can't do that because if this one doesn't work out, I got to go find another one because I got to get that check, right? And a lot of people jump into this job thinking it's going to be easy and they realize it's a process. You have to build one block at a time, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is this. You're going to have to, go forward from it. Not that I'm an ultra mega agent realtor, but I've done well enough to where I know, like,
Absolutely have.
you do have to talk to more people, but whoever's in front of you right now is the most important. I think that's where you're going to succeed over others. It's because you won't let something on the outside come in. If you've blocked that time, I'm with that person. That's who I'm talking to. So that's going to be the thing that sets you apart, right? Your
Very
your
kind.
attention to detail for them.
That's what I was going to chime in on because that's exactly you said the word. I think it's disrespectful, quite frankly. What you're saying to the person that you're meeting with at that time is that you're not that important. This other thing is, whether it's a text message or, an email, you're not that important. And we all want to feel validated and important, right? At the end of the day, we're human beings. And it's just not the way I was brought up, and it's not the way I'm going to serve anyone. And I think you're doing a disservice to the person that's in front of you. And period. That's it. And it is a pet peeve of mine, quite
Oh, for
frankly.
sure.
People do
For
that.
sure. So, talk to me a little bit about, how do you think your previous roles in working in real estate, because you, like you said already earlier, agent services, you were the first, like the front door of a brand new agent, like at whatever office you've worked at, like you've been able to be the person they see. And really, if you think about it, the agent service coordinator is the person that sets the tone for that brokerage, right?
Yeah.
If that person is cold and doesn't pay attention, right, then they're going to be like, why'd I come here? Right? It doesn't matter how great it is. They have to have that good first impression. It's like going to a listing and the landscaping's horrible. Like the least you could have done is throw some dirt out there to make it look kind of new, right?
Yeah.
Um, Tell me how that stuff has prepared you to go do what you're going to do now. What kind of things did you learn from that, and what is it going to help you as going forward?
Well, I've seen, right, very successful realtors actually wrote their checks at one point in that office, as well as agents that just come to a couple of Ignite classes or in training and then don't show up after that, right? So I've learned basically the same things that I've always known. I think they just got reinforced through this office and through my experience, which is you have to put people first, you have to put relationships first, you can't give up, right? And things take time, right? So be patient with yourself first before you can be patient. So I don't have any unrealistic timeline for my quote unquote success. I'm going to do the things I know, which are to put people and their needs before mine, because this is the most one of the biggest, if not the biggest, transaction that they're ever going to have in their life. For us, it's a transaction. For them, it's a home, right? They put out so much money into it. Many times, if they're blessed, like we've been spent a decade or two in a home, right? So much time they nurture and grow their families. Just coming from that perspective of just understanding. I think that's my greatest thing. One of the core values in the Keller Williams model is communication. Seek to understand, right? Seek to understand what that person's needs are first, because depending on what and how quickly a person needs to buy or sell a home, we can adjust our strategies, right? um, and find out what their motivation level is so that you can plan your time according to that as well, to keep it real.
Yeah, no,
But
absolutely.
yeah, and of course, I've seen what it takes to be a successful agent, and it's just doing the work. I mean, there's just no excuse. You just have to do what you have to do, and results come and they take time. I think one of the greatest things I learned was that what you do today will either pay you or not pay you in 90 days, right? That's it. That's how real estate works. So if you're not doing anything today, don't expect a check 3 months from now or a month and a half or however long it takes you to do
Yeah.
it. So it's something that has to be done regularly, consistently, systematically to see the results, just like anything else you want to succeed at, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of newer agents hear that, and a lot of times the thing that you just said sticks out to them is like 90 days, right? They stick to that. I've told a lot of people that I've talked to before, and I've been asked before, how are you able to do, what you're doing? And it used to catch me off guard a little bit. Like, why are these people asking what I'm doing, right? Because I was never the number one guy in the office. But then I looked back at the production that I had, and I looked at how many homes I sold, and I did okay. And I think the deal is I wasn't looking for it to close in 90 days. I wasn't looking for it to close next month. I
Yeah.
was just looking to help you when you were ready. And that, for me personally, as when I was a realtor, and what's been going to be carried forward to the team, is that I've talked to many of people that a year later I'm ready to go. I didn't I didn't call them back. I don't bug people. Like, I don't do that. I got it. Sales, you have to follow up with people. You got to talk to them all the time. You got to do all that stuff. But I don't think that I need to as much because I stick with what I know. So if I know the people that I'm talking to, and that's kind of the deal, is like I stay within my sphere of influence and my niche, right? I'm a veteran first and foremost, and those are the people that I understand. And what I know is the more you ask somebody about something, the more you come off as transactional and not relational, right? And you want to build a relationship with people. It's not just about I helped you buy this house and then we're done, right? You still
Yeah.
want to talk to them and see how they're doing and stuff like that. And if you look at all the statistics, a lot of times that's the one thing that doesn't happen. You can go down the street right now and probably talk to 10 people. You can go knock on the doors of 10 people right now, and I bet you at least half of them don't remember their realtor's name when they bought that house.
Yeah. I
And
think
that's a
you're right.
problem. It's a problem. But the reason it's a problem is, like, look in Houston, there's like how many real estate agents? Like five or six
Just under 40.
thousand.
No, HAR under 40,000, just a little under 40,000.
It's
It's
crazy how
crazy.
many
Just
people are
HAR.
doing it. But
Yeah.
here's the other part of that. If you go in and real estate is just like any other sales model that you'll look at, the top 5% to 80% of the business. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not they're the best looking, the most liked, the best personality. That has nothing to do with it. It is a business at the end of the day. The people that can get it done for you and understand your needs, and they'll walk through the process. Like, one of the biggest things, first time home buyers. So many questions. So many questions. And so many times you see realtors are like, oh, these people again. Like, they're calling me again. Well, you do realize they're paying your bills next month, right?
Right.
Like, you should answer their question. You
Right.
don't know how many people that person knows, and you don't know what that's going to turn out to, right? But then when you get that review and they were like, she did a good job, but it felt like we were bothering you every time. Those people get angry when they read that review.
Yeah.
And then again, if you know people well enough and you build a good enough of a rapport with people when you talk to them, there's been a lot of people that I've asked, like, are they lying? Like, seriously, are they lying? Did it bother you because you had to talk to them and you couldn't go call three other people that may have been trying to do the same thing, right? If you really want to be good at sales and service and building like this kind of business in real estate, you have to be patient. And it's hard to do. I've
Do
worked
the
with a
right thing, dude. Just do the right thing.
yeah.
It's not complicated. Just do the right thing, and the results will come. I,
Always.
I like how you spun my 90 days. That's not where I was going with that at all, because you know how long I've been a realtor. But the point is, it's just putting in the effort today and not worrying about the results and doing the things that you said, that
For
resonate
sure.
true to me to 100%. Just do it without the expectation of a paycheck. Do it because it's the right thing to do. Do it because you want to help someone, right?
Right. And so that's why I was telling you, I'm probably the least likely person to ever go sit in and be developed by like the traditional real estate coaches. And a lot of those people will probably tell me that I'm crazy and I'm doing it the wrong way and you could be doing so much better, but I'm a small business. I'm not trying to be a, $1 billion business. Like, I'm okay with helping 24 people a year. Like, if you really think about it, the average real estate agent might help six.
Right. That's a fact.
That that's a good year for a realtor.
Yeah.
Six.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to do a little bit more than that. And now I'm able to carry on into the other side, and we're able to just help that much more people, right? Because now I'm taking my willingness and my drive to help others and do that from being in just Houston to being all over the country. It's just a little bit different, but I mean, it's important to work with good people, and again,
Yeah,
that's why we want to work with you. Good people
right.
do good things.
Yeah, well, you use the word fortunate. I think fortune favors those who are willing to put in the effort. I think you've put in a lot of effort. I've seen you firsthand in an office, so don't even try to downplay that with me because it's not going to work. You know that. I've seen you. I know even today what all you're doing, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. And I honestly consider it my honor and privilege to be aligned with you in any form that I can. You know, it truly is because you become who you surround yourself with, and I would be proud to be even half the human that you are.
I
Because
appreciate that.
what you've done, and you know I mean it. I don't say things I don't mean.
Oh
And
no, I
that's
understand.
just how I am.
I appreciate it, and the reality is, I kind of take that road, right, and I try to teach my kids. I try to teach anybody I work with. It's not
Well, you're
about
walking
me.
the walk. You're not just talking the talk. You are actually walking the walk, and especially with children, you know. And I've worked with a lot, not just my three. Um, you can talk, you can teach, you can tutor, but the only way they're actually going to model you is by sh- watching you work, watching you, observing you. What is it that you do? So I'm just going to simplify it. Like in terms of my after school program, there were actually, you know, books that would children would complain. I did the entire curriculum from preschool to high school. Okay, so that means you know, from holding how to hold a pencil to calculus. So anytime a student would complain, I would bring my book out and say, listen, I did the work, you can too, right? It's about putting in the work, no matter what work it is. If you do the right thing and you're, I think at the end of the day, if you're a good human, good things happen. That's it. That's just it. And that's the only thing I ever want to be. And people ask me all the time, and you know this as a former Keller Williams associate yourself or agent. They're always asking, you know, life by design and all these vague questions about well, your 5 years. I said, and I truly believe this that and I live it this my I've lived my life this way. That's why people are amazed at the things that I've done, which are nothing compared to yours, but they're enough. You know, uh, so they ask me, "What's your plan 5 years from now?" And I will simply quote John Lennon and say, "Be happy, dude. That's it. That's all I want to do is be happy and give back. It's simple. I want to do that 5 years from now. I want to do that 5 minutes from now. So in this way, I hope I'm giving back a little bit to people that truly matter to me, which are the veterans of this country.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you attend those classes, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't like to align myself necessarily with like the traditional realm of how any of that stuff works, because I mean, I sat in a class and they said 5 years from now, what do you want? I was like, I just want to be successful. Well, what does that mean? And I had
Quantify.
to tie something to success. I
Yeah,
had to tell you that in 5 years, if I don't have this, I'm not successful. Well, I mean, to be honest, I feel successful today. Like
you
I don't want to do anything, that's not to help other people and do all those things. That's why I'm doing this that I'm doing now. That's why I want to talk to people and throw it out there like other people are doing. But I don't want to talk to people about controversial things or whatever. But if they want to talk about it, that's 100% fine. I just want people to have the opportunity to talk, kind of talk a little bit about them, learn that they were a teacher, learn that they immigrated to this country, learn that they're proud to be in this country, and learn what it would mean to be able to talk to that individual, such as yourself, and use their service or or learn something today about what's going to help you out. And I think that the biggest reward to that is to see success from others, right? Like I had to tell my son one time, like in the military they give awards and stuff like that all the time. And there was one particular time I was given an award and I was not happy about it. I was very angry. And they asked me why. I said, well, because I don't need it. It does nothing for me. That piece of paper you gave me is great. I appreciate it, but there's a whole bunch of other people in this room that I know you could have given that to, that it would have helped them make the next rank and get a promotion and make more money for the family, or something like that means more to them, right? Every individual is driven by different things, and I'm not driven by you giving me awards. That doesn't even matter.
Same. Yeah, it does.
So again, the other reason to do something like this, and the reason to partner with the people that we partner with, it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see how it works. And, the next time we have you on here, you're going to be telling us about like all the future that's being created by the work that you're doing today, right? It's all going to come back at some point.
Well, thank you. I most certainly appreciate that. And
Yeah.
from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, he hears us. He's going to totally make it happen.
Of course.
$100 next week. Or do you need more?
Whatever.
But that's the thing, right? If I got paid $100 to do it, or I got paid $100 million to do it, if I feel like it makes a difference to someone, pay me nothing.
Yeah.
Of course, I want to make a salary. Of course, I need to feed my family. Of course, I need to get my kids through college and all those different things. But I believe, and I know the reason we wanted to work with you is you believe the same thing. And I know that if I help you today, and I don't let anything like a commission check come in the way of you being able to purchase a home, or you being able to get into a home through being able to borrow the money. If I can make sure that I help your family get that job security, and then I can see you sign the papers and you get to move into that house, payment, I'm good. But eventually I'm going to get the break, and I'll get a couple lucky ones, and they'll be really easy to do, and it'll be awesome. But
And I know this for a fact about you. I know this for a fact that you've done things that no many agents, I should say, wouldn't even think about doing. The concessions
I
you've
get
given
called crazy when I
forward.
do it.
Well, not by me.
No, not by you, but I mean
That's what I'm saying. I
by
would
some of
never
them.
call you crazy for that. And that's why I want to be with you. You know what I mean? That's why we're walking hand in hand or whatever it might be through this. Because that's how much I believe in you and I've seen you. It's not just a matter of you saying it for this podcast or anything else. I've seen you do the things. I've been there many times. Seen you do that. Seen you do the things that so many people and what there were more than 200 agents that were in that office. So a little under 300 to be precise at the time. So, and there aren't that many that I want to be aligned and associated with after I'm not in a certain office. And you definitely make that list, and that I'm just super proud and honored to be in your company. I will say it again and again and again because it's true, and I'm not afraid of the truth.
No, for sure. And it's not about what I would do. It's not about how it would be. I really appreciate it. Don't take that
I know you
in
do,
any other way.
and I appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, I'm not a sit at the front of the room kind of guy.
I
I just want to make sure that you get what you need. And so that's why I'm excited to be able to help you to go into that route, right? Like I have a lot that I got to do now when it comes into helping people all over the country make sure that they can get into a home through a loan, right?
right.
And I know I can't do the other, and that's why I committed to doing the lending. And so I know that I'm 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 positioning myself with someone that's going to be able to help those people the same way that I help them. They're going to have that same trust, right? You may have never been in the military a day, but your ability and willingness to help people is going to make them feel at home, because they're going to feel like someone has their back and they care for them. As veterans, that's what we want. We want someone that has our back. Like you get what I'm trying to do. I see that you're trying to help me. If I ask a question, you're available. You answer the phone. You text me back, right?
Crazy
It's
stuff.
just, yeah, it's
Just way
just
out there, like common
being a
sense is
nice person.
not common.
There's a lot that don't do it though, and it
No,
gets
I
frustrating, I'm
know what
sure.
you're telling me is right, but I just want to say that while I may not have been in the United States service even one day, I've been part of a service family. My uncle was a wing commander in the Indian Air Force, and I've seen the sacrifice that he's made for his country and the country in which I was born. So I understand. It's not just his sacrifice, which he made even to the end. Unfortunately, he also passed away this year, just before my father. But it's a mentality, not just of his, but his entire family has given so much and given up and sacrificed so much. So it isn't just the veteran; it's also the families, right? And in some
For sure.
instances, it's no longer the veteran; it's only the families. And for them, I have nothing but respect, honor, and gratitude and indebtedness. Period. That's it.
Well,
You just
I
have to
feel the
honor
same way.
yourself. I know.
100%. I'm excited to see the future that you build for yourself. I'm excited to see how the success comes. I know that some days are harder than others, and I know that in some cases there's a lot of other people in this world that would have already quit. We see it every year in real estate, right?
Yeah.
I'm just glad that you're not quitting. I'm glad that you're still wanting to take the drive and keep going forward, and then you're still trying to push, and that's what it takes. Eventually, you will look back at this when you have five, six, 10, however many agents working with you, and you're running your own thing, where you're looking back and going, it just takes a little bit of work, right? You just got to keep pushing. That's all you got to do.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know that what you're speaking of is something that you've actually made happen for yourself. So I again, from your mouth to God's ears, I just know that I only have, control of the present. So today I feel honored and blessed to be in your company in this regard, and hopefully someone out there will give me a call so I can help them, right, moving forward. If
Yeah,
not, I'll
somebody
knock on
will.
a few doors.
Yeah, yeah. Go knock on the doors. You guys are going to see in the neighborhood, and at the end of the day, just have the conversation. It's going to be a good thing, you know. And then don't worry. Once you're killing it, I'm going to have you back on so I can get famous again. You know.
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
That's a deal. Always
I
and
gotta,
forever.
I gotta keep pushing. But yeah, I mean, it was good. I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you are busy. You are busy. You're trying to get things moving. So to take a little bit of time to talk is great. I wanted people, to know who you are. And so the way we're going to leave it is tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, and after that we'll be good. We can close it up.
Sure. My phone number. I know it's crazy. Just call me. 361-935-4467. Of course, you can shoot me a text. 361-935-4467. Or if you're an email kind of person, realtorhingo@gmail.com. REALTORHINGO, Hingo like bingo, except with an H, at gmail.com.
All right,
And of course, I'm on
perfect.
Facebook and Insta. And my name is Radhika Hingoranee. Good luck with that one. But do you want me to spell it?
Yeah, you might want
That'll take
to.
another.
I
That
mean,
might take another whole minute. But Radhika is my first name. It's Radhika, and my last name is Hingoranee. Thank you, Matt Johnson.
thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today. We will get this up so everybody knows who you are. If you're in Houston, from the Woodlands to League City, from the East Side and Channelview all the way over to the Katy area, if you're looking to purchase a home or sell a home, Radhika is who you need to talk to. She's a
Even rent.
professional. Huh?
I even do leases.
Yeah, anything you're looking to do. Anything you're looking to do. Like you will be in good hands, I promise you. And with that, I just appreciate it. Thank you so much, and
Pleasure's been
look
mine.
forward to doing it again.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you for the opportunity.